If you come across a trainer that does this in a training session, run for the hills, because those are red flags. This is not what a balanced trainer does, and that is not what correction should look like. Yeah, corrections does not mean abuse your dog, and balanced trainers do not support abusing of dogs. Oh, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe or comment below. Hey, this video is not to convince you that you have to use corrections with your dog. This video is just here to explain why I use corrections with my dogs and with my clients and why that works. So in this video, I'm going to talk why I work with corrections and debunk some of the arguments positive only trainers like to use that I think are not valid arguments and that get used time and time again, and it takes a lot of my time to respond to those people, and it is energy draining. I don't enjoy it. I just want to train dogs. So this video is for me to just explain everything how I see dog training, and then you decide what you want to do with that. I'm not here to convince you to do it my way, because you do your way. You do you. Yeah, but this is how I do me. Alright, so let's dive into reasons why I believe in using corrections with dogs. So I think setting clear boundaries is really important in dog training, and for crossing that boundary, there should be consequences. And consequences can be pleasant or unpleasant. Well, obviously, if you talk about correction, it'll be an unpleasant consequence, right? But this consequence isn't necessarily going to be abusive to a dog. Like a consequence could be, I'm going to take this away from you, or I'm going to walk away from you. That's all. Those are also corrections, right? Corrections doesn't mean go smack your dog when they don't listen to you. Okay, so that's my first one. That brings me to my second one. A correction does not mean hurt the dog. We don't want to hurt the dogs. Yeah, we love dogs. We want to work with dogs for a reason. And that reason is because we want to help people live their best lives with their dogs. So hurting them, that's abusive, and we're just as much against that as any other person that loves animals. So a correction means it should be measured, safe, and a clear signal that no, we don't want you to do that. It's not supposed to be abusive. We're not going to be kicking or hitting or smacking or pinning dogs. Yeah, that's all outdated, unnecessary stuff. A correction should be measured and fitting for the infraction. Yeah, so for example, you don't go to prison for 30 years for speeding. Yeah, that would be way out of proportion. But what do you get? You get a speeding fine. You get a ticket. Yeah, so we want to, but then at the same time, if you murder someone, you will go to prison for lots and lots of years. Because if you would just get a ticket, then that balance is again off. So we need to do the same with dogs. Now, third reason, different dogs means different corrections, and the dog decides the correction. Yeah, so for some dogs, a verbal correction is enough, or a leash pop is enough. Other dogs will work well with a water bottle, like a squirt bottle with water. And then there is dogs that love water. Like I've had that before, that I tried to use a squirt bottle on a dog, and the dog thought it was a great game and started catching it. So that's not the right correction for the dog. I've also used loud sounds before, like using a doggy don't. I have used a balloon before. I've worked with a dog that was afraid of balloons. Okay, so what do we use? A balloon. Okay, did I ever touch the dog with the balloon? No, but me just holding that balloon was enough to teach the dog about personal space. Okay, That might mean, what else have I used? A pet corrector. Yeah, that's compressed air that you use. So you press a button and it goes like that. That can be aversive to some dogs. I've also had dogs that were extremely curious about it and they were like, oh, what's that? You might be using a slip lead or a prong collar or an e-collar. Those are all forms of corrections that you can use, but you don't have to. Balanced training does not mean aversive training. So when we talk about positive only training, yeah, that positive reinforcement training, that's reward-based training. And I feel like the positive only people, not all of them, definitely not all of them, there's some really, really amazing positive only people out there that train dogs amazingly, right? But I feel like there is a group that makes it seem it's either positive only or it's aversive. And that's not how it works, right? Because balanced training, the word says it, it's a balance. So we use positive reinforcement, and when necessary, we use aversives, yeah? So we use positive reinforcement all the time. You don't teach a new behavior with corrections. Another reason I use corrections is because some behaviors can be so easily fixed with a simple correction that I simply don't see the need to give clients a week-long, or weeks, I should say weeks, or even months-long training program to fix something. Like, I don't see the point of it. If I can stop a dog from jumping on people in 5 minutes using a lead and maybe a squirt bottle correction, then why wouldn't I do that? Yes, I could tell the person, let's do it with positive reinforcement only, and it's going to take you several weeks. I could do that, but you know what? People often want a quick solution because it's hard to commit to a certain training program for weeks on end. Yeah, and if we can fix it with a very clear, friendly correction, then why wouldn't we do that? Okay, it's like, to me, a spray bottle correction isn't a big deal. So that's why I choose it. Some people prefer medicating a dog over trying out aversive methods. And I'm just not for that. I'm not going to medicate a dog with antidepressants and all kinds of stuff before I have tried a correction on the dog. So just not that, I just don't do that. Yeah, to me, using medication to completely alter the dog is way worse than spraying them with a spray bottle or even using an e-collar on them. And then I want to also address that there is a lot of balanced dog trainers that work with really aggressive dogs, and they are often the last stop for that dog. And there are positive only trainers that would recommend euthanasia over an e-collar. And I think that if for someone that is saying that they love animals and they want the best for dogs at all times, to recommend death over an e-collar or a prong collar or a correction, that is extremely selfish to me. That's choosing your ideology over the well-being of the dog. I just don't understand why you would choose that choice over a correction for a dog. Like, it doesn't, I cannot comprehend that concept at all. And then, you know, you only need to go look on YouTube yourself and look at Tom Davis dog training or Self-End dog training, or Larry Crone, or Tyler Muto, or Blake Rodriguez, Evan Doggett. There are so many trainers out there that have done amazing work with dogs that have been told, like owners have been told to put their dog down because the trainer couldn't help the dog because they wouldn't use any corrective tools. And medication didn't work either. And they would still stand their ground that yes, it's better to kill a dog than to use a correction. Like, that is, if you can be any more aversive, it's putting a dog down. All right, let's have a look at some common arguments that are used by some positive-only trainers when they are trying to convince you that balanced training is awful for your dog. So the first one that is very popular at the moment is you are suppressing behavior and not working on the actual issue. All right, let's dive into that one. Yes, some behaviors are suppressed. For example, jumping on people, counter surfing, attention barking. There's absolutely no reason to do any of those. And quite frankly, your emotions, and those are the dog's emotions, don't matter in that case. Yes, I know you're excited. That doesn't mean you get to jump all over people and scratch them up. Yes, I know you don't have impulse control, but that doesn't mean you can eat a steak from my kitchen counter. So yes, I am going to suppress that behavior because I don't want it happening again. No matter if you're excited or sad, you're not going to jump on my kitchen counter and eat the food off there. So I don't see anything wrong in suppressing some of those behaviors. Then, on the other side, we have reactive dogs. And when working with reactive dogs, sometimes you need to suppress a certain behavior, such as extreme barking and lunging whenever they see a dog or whatever trigger, and you can tell they are stuck in that behavior. And you can say stuff, you can toss treats on the ground, you can tug on the lead, but nothing is snapping them out of it. Because when they're in that state of mind, they can't think. Okay, so what do I need to do? I need to create a break in the moment so the dog is able to focus back on me and take my directions, which then creates an opportunity to do some learning. Yeah, so again, we're going back to don't do this, which is the barking and lunging. Do that instead. Look at me, focus on me, walk away, eat the treats from the ground. But to get that break and that lunging, sometimes we need something stronger than a tug on the lead because we've already established the tug on the lead isn't working, right? So it might be that spray bottle or the pet corrector or Ecollar correction. Like, it depends on the dog. So one of the arguments that will probably come then is that, oh, you're working your dog over threshold. Like, to me, it's not acceptable to work with a dog for a year before they can walk around the neighborhood. Like, to me, that's not a life for the dog or for the owner. Yeah, like, yes, I do disengage. Yes, I do rewards. Yes, I do desensitization. I hate pronouncing that word. Yeah, I do all of those. But I also push the dog a little bit so I can tell them this is not a this is not how we get out of this situation. Again, that is me. If I can help a dog in 2 or 4 weeks compared to 6 to 12 months, I'm going to choose the 2 to 4 weeks. Yeah, because it's better for the dog and it's better for the owner. Training should be stress and fear-free for the dog. And I simply disagree with that statement. Yeah, everyone experiences stress and fear. Every single animal on the planet. Because that is how you stay alive. Yeah. If life was completely stress and fear-free, you would walk across the street without looking because you have no fear. You get hit by a bus and you die. Okay. If you would never experience stress, you would never push yourself to do something new or challenge yourself. Stress and fear aren't necessarily evil concepts. Okay, they are needed in life to progress and overcome, and then afterwards you'll feel awesome about yourself because you did something you didn't think you could do. So for me, when people advertise, I'm a fear-free, stress-free dog trainer, like, to me that means nothing because I don't see stress and fear as a negative thing. It is necessary. Like, can you imagine you're an antelope in the savannah and you're not afraid of the lions? Like, what's gonna happen? The thing is gonna die within a day. Yeah, so there isn't necessarily bad to have some fear. Positive reinforcement is science-based and proven. Right, this is one that they love to throw out there. And yes, but so is balance training. Because guess what? We use the exact same science as positive reinforcement does, which is generally using classical conditioning and operant conditioning. And then when we look at operant conditioning, there are 4 quadrants. I'll show it to you here. Yeah. And it has positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, and negative punishment. Now, positive only trainers have decided to only use the positive reinforcement quadrant, whereas we balance trainers use the whole quadrant. I'm not going to explain how the whole quadrant works. I'm sure you can find a different video on that. But it's the same science. You can't just pick and choose your science, people. You can't just say, well, we are science-based and the balance trainers are not, when you use the exact same science. That's not how science works. You can't pick and choose your research. So that's that one. Okay. Working with corrections only serves the human and not the dog. I think it serves the human and it serves the dog. If the owner is at its wit's end with the dog and is considering rehoming or euthanasia, like behavioral euthanasia, then it serves both to find a trainer that can work with corrections and I don't like to say fix, because dogs can't really be fixed, yeah, but solve their problems in a way that the dog becomes livable again with them, right? So yes, so why is it such a bad thing if you can find a trainer that can fix a problem that they've been working on for maybe a year or 2 years and it's not working, to get someone in or send them to a board and train for 4 weeks, and he comes back and they can live with the dog for another 10 years without constantly feeling anxious or that they want to give up or that they have to put the dog down or rehome it and make it someone else's problem. Yeah, so yes, some balance training is a lot faster, but not necessarily for the human only. And then I also want to look at it from the dog's perspective. So imagine you are a dog that's afraid of other dogs, like you're reactive to other dogs. Would you rather work on that problem for 12 months or 6 months and be stressed? There's your stress. Yeah. Would you rather be stressed for all that time, every time you see a dog? Or would you rather work on it for 4 weeks and then be able to deal with it? To be like, hey, there's a dog, but I'm okay with that now. To me, staying longer in that state of stress is a punishment in itself, right? Because I can fix it faster. Why wouldn't I do that? That's not just for the human, that's also for the dog. The dog won't trust you if you use corrections, and it's bad for your relationship with your dog. So I disagree with that one as well, no surprise, because your dog will trust you because the rules are known and they know that if they break a rule, that's when a consequence follows. Yeah, so we're not just randomly punishing the dog without any reason. Your child not trust you because you had to ground them or took their iPad away. Does that mean you have a bad relationship with your child now? Maybe if it was for a very unreasonable reason, but not if it was warranted, right? Or do you not trust your partner because they told you you can't or won't do something? Those are all corrections. Yes, they're not physical, but it's still a correction. Yeah, we can even go as far as saying, if my partner would shove me out of the way so I wouldn't step into something dangerous like traffic, that was a physical correction to save my life. And it had a great result in the end. Next time I'll pay attention. Should he have not done that? Or, for example, if you slap your child's hand away out of reflex from touching a hot stove or a sharp knife or something that could really, really hurt them, right? You've already told them, don't touch that. Don't touch that. And then they reach out and you just go like this. Yeah? Do you think that actually makes the relationship with you and your child like untrustworthy and bad? Or do you think they would trust you more because they saved you from imminent danger? Right? It is all context. Corrections are always about context. And then the last one is, again, your dog will be shut down and afraid. Again, the context. Yeah, like water for Zelda, my dog, from the squirt bottle is a big yuck. But water from the water gun, she goes nuts for it. Like, I literally come home from a day of work. She doesn't even say hi to me. She runs to the deck in the hopes that I will use the water gun on her so she can catch the water. Yeah, so it's all about context. It's like having an abusive partner or like parent, right? What's the biggest fear? You come home and you don't know what mood they're in. They're unpredictable. But dog training shouldn't be unpredictable. Yeah, it is predictable. The dog knows the rules, and if you don't follow the rules, the consequence follows. If you are being unpredictable with your dog and just randomly handing out physical, violent corrections, then you're abusive. That's what abuse is. Okay? So I feel like I went through all the arguments. Again, this is not to convince you to use corrections or not use corrections. This is not to hate on positive only trainers, because actually I love a lot of positive only trainers. But what I don't love is that I'm often hated on and actually abused online just because I have a different opinion, and I can't stand it. Yeah, like, if you believe you're so positive only and everything is good and stress-free, why don't you apply some of that to your human counterparts? You know, like, for example, I can easily watch a video of a positive only trainer and see what they're doing and think to myself, that's good, or that's not how I would do it. But I don't go then online and start preaching and calling names and telling that trainer that they're a piece of shit. Yeah, but I get that quite a bit. And that's not a massive big deal, because that's what you get when you are online. But this video is going to be my response to every one of those posts in the future. I'm not going to have the discussion anymore. This is how I feel about it. You're not going to change my mind. This is how I train. And I believe in my training because I've worked with the dogs and I've had the happy clients, and I know that I'm a good person. So, if you like this video, I would love it if you subscribed. Leave a comment if you like. I would love to hear your opinion. I know it's a bit of a controversial topic, but yeah, I hope you have an awesome day.